In 1967, there were songs playing all across American radio, and then the artist behind them nearly disappeared. Yet almost 6 decades later, just a few notes can still bring an entire youth back to life. There was a song that was originally placed on the B-side and then unexpectedly reached #1. There was a hit born from a traffic jam, and there was a melody from South Africa that made all of America want to dance. These are the 10 one-hit wonders of 1967.
Good sense, innocence, crippling mankind.
Number 10, Incense and Peppermints by Strawberry Alarm Clock. Incense and Peppermints almost never became the song that all of America came to know. At first, it was placed on the B-side of a single, and the lead singer was not even a permanent member of Strawberry Alarm Clock.
Good sense, innocence, crippling mankind.
But radio stations in Los Angeles began flipping the record over and playing that very song. From a B-side that had nearly been overlooked, Incense and Peppermints spread across America and eventually reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in November 1967. The strangest part is that the voice forever associated with the hit belonged to Greg Munford, a 16-year-old teenager who was invited to sing during the recording session. One of the most iconic sounds of psychedelic 1967 was ultimately created by someone who was almost outside the band. Number 9, A Little Bit of Soul by The Music Explosion. A Little Bit of Soul sounds like a song made to be played loudly on a car radio during the summer, but The Music Explosion were not the first ones to record it. An earlier version had already appeared before the song reached the young garage rock group from Ohio. With its bass rhythm, organ, and Jamie Lyons' energetic vocals, the new version quickly surpassed the original and climbed all the way to #2 on the Billboard Hot 100. Billboard later ranked it as the number 11 song of all of 1967. The Music Explosion never managed to repeat that moment, but just a little bit of soul was enough for their name to still be remembered nearly 6 decades later. Do melodies like this bring back any memories of 1967 for you? Share your story in the comments. We always read them and would love to hear your memories.
Got your cable just today, feel my groove, I've got to sing.
Number 8, Western Union by the Five Americans.
Telegram just had to say, learned your lesson all the way.
Before text messages and cell phones, a Western Union telegram could bring news that left the person receiving it both anxious and afraid to read it.
Now you've gone away, how it's sad to say you've gone.
The Five Americans turned that very feeling into a pop rock song with a sound that almost mimicked telegraph signals. The idea began when guitarist Mike Rabin accidentally created an unusual sound on his guitar. Western Union reached #5 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the spring of 1967 and became the recording most closely associated with the group's name. Perhaps for those who grew up in the era of telegrams, the title alone can bring back an entirely different world.
Think I'll throw it on the floor. For a long time, 'cause constantly.
Number 7, Expressway to Your Heart by the Soul Survivors. One of the most memorable soul songs of 1967 began not in a recording studio, but in the middle of a traffic jam in Philadelphia. Kenny Gamble was on his way to meet a girl when he got stuck on the Schuylkill Expressway. Sitting in the car for too long, he began tapping out a rhythm on the dashboard and came up with the image of an expressway leading straight to the heart of the person he wanted to see. Together with Leon Huff, Gamble turned that idea into Expressway to Your Heart. Soul Survivors took the song to number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100, while also giving Gamble and Huff one of their first major successes before they became the architects of Philadelphia soul. Number 6, 98.6 by Keith.
98.6, it's good to have you back.
98.6 took a number that almost every American had heard in a doctor's office and turned it into the title of a cheerful pop song.
She's got me on another kind of high.
The song was written by Tony Powers and George Fishoff, while Keith took it to number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100 in early 1967. Behind his vocals was another detail more familiar than many people realize. The Tokens, the group famous for The Lion Sleeps Tonight, provided backing vocals on the recording.
It's good to have you back again. Oh,
98.6 sold more than 1 million copies worldwide. A number that simply represented normal body temperature ended up becoming something that could make an entire generation remember the radio of 1967. If one of these songs just took you back to a car, a radio, or a summer in 1967, please like and subscribe to the channel. The final 5 still hold even more unforgettable memories. Number 5, Come On Down to My Boat by Every Mother's Son. Every Mother's Son came out of the folk scene in Greenwich Village, but MGM saw something different in them, a clean, friendly image that stood in complete contrast to the rebellious look of the hippie era. The record label gave the group Come On Down to My Boat, a song that had previously been recorded by another group but had failed to make an impact. Every Mother's Son's version, however, became a summer hit and climbed to number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100. They appeared on television, had their own album, and it seemed as if a major career had just begun. But the singles that followed never came close to that success. The boat that carried them to the top of radio in 1967 ultimately became the journey the public remembered most. Number 4, We Ain't Got Nothin' Yet by Blues Magoos. Before psychedelic rock became a familiar part of popular culture, Blues Magoos stepped onto the stage with a loud sound, heavy organ, and a name that almost seemed to announce that the 1960s were changing. We Ain't Got Nothin' Yet took the group to number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100 in early 1967. At a time when I'm a Believer by the Monkees was still number 1 in America, the sound of Blues Magoos felt like a signal that a darker kind of rock was approaching. The singles that followed could not repeat that success, and the original lineup eventually broke apart. But the song title accidentally became quite fitting. After their first major hit, they truly never found another moment quite like it. Number 3, Pada Pada by Miriam Makeba. Before America danced to Pada Pada, that melody had lived an entirely different life, thousands of miles away. Pada Pada was the name of a popular dance in the townships of Johannesburg beginning in the 1950s. Miriam Makeba had performed the song in South Africa, and after building a career in America, she recorded it again in 1967 with an English-spoken section explaining the dance itself. The new version reached number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became the song most closely associated with Makeba internationally. A dance born in Johannesburg ultimately crossed the ocean and appeared on American radio during one of the most remarkable musical years of the 1960s. Number 2, Talk Talk by The Music Machine. When the music machine appeared, just looking at them was enough to know that this was not an ordinary pop band. The members dressed entirely in black, dyed their hair black, and each wore a single black glove. Sean Bonnewell wanted both the band's image and music to have a cold, distinctive feeling, unlike anything else appearing on American television. Talk Talk lasted less than 2 minutes, but its power took the music machine to number 15 on the Billboard Hot 100 as 1967 began. Bonnewell later said the song came from the tension of his high school years. A song lasting less than 2 minutes ultimately lived far longer than the band that created it. Number 1. Green Tambourine by the Lemon Pipers. Green Tambourine began with a man standing outside the Brill Building in New York with a tambourine in his hand, asking people passing by for money. Drop a dime before I walk away. Songwriter Shelley Pins saw him and wrote a poem about the image. Paul Lika then turned those words into a colorful psychedelic pop recording with tambourine, electric sitar, and a sound that is almost impossible to confuse with any other era. Tambourine. The Lemon Pipers released the song in late 1967. Its momentum continued into the new year before Green Tambourine reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 on February 3, 1968, and sold more than 1 million copies. An unknown street musician in New York never knew that his image had helped create one of the most famous psychedelic pop hits of the era. Perhaps the most special thing about the songs around 1967 is not where they once ranked on Billboard. It is the fact that almost 6 decades later, just an organ passage, the sound of a tambourine, or the first few seconds can still take someone back to the back seat of a car, a radio in the kitchen, or a summer that now seems so far away. Do you remember where you were when you first heard these songs? Share that memory in the comments. And if you want to keep traveling back to those years, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.